This is Robin Nelson here of Horror Pop After Midnight. I'm at the Horror Hound Film Festival in Horror Hound in Cincinnati. I'm here with a good friend, Jeff. How do you say your last name? Jeff's pretty hard to pronounce.
Ignatowski.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about your serial killer game.
So I am the one that created Killers the card game. It is a cross between D&D and Magic. So, Killers has been out about almost 3 years now. And it has become, I guess, infamous in some circles, but it has been an incredible hit, really. We've done close to 3,000 units in 8 different countries in the last 3 years. Not too bad for a little independent publisher and printer and indie guy. That's me. So we now have like 6 different games. I got one on Kickstarter right now called The Profiler. But yeah, the Killers is a game that has killers in it, oddly enough, but all real people. So Ted Bundy, Jeffrey Dahmer, and 590 some other killers in the full game. So it is quite the collection.
Now, let's talk about your Killers game. You had somebody that reached out to you from Department of Homeland Security?
So that is a wild story. I was actually at Evansville RaptorCon in Evansville, Indiana. Really, really cool convention down there that they do. And while I was down there, one of the handlers for one of the celebrities there came up to the booth, and she came up and she said, "Man, I don't know how I've never heard of you." And I'm like, I don't know how to feel about that. Like, why would you have? And she was like, well, we do a lot of studying about serial killers and stuff. And, usually I hear about stuff like this. And I'm like, okay, well, who do you work for? And she said, well, I work for the Department of Homeland Security down in Baton Rouge. And I was like, oh. And I was like, well, I'm kind of glad you haven't heard of me, because if you did, maybe I would be in a facility somewhere. And she said, no. She was like, well, I may not have heard of you because I work for the department that deals with human trafficking. And I said, wow, that's crazy. So she calls up her lieutenant, and we end up talking and everything. They buy a copy of the game, and so they have it, and they are wanted to use it for training for some of their officers down there for research. And so, just crazy stuff. You would never think that. I also have a buddy of mine who actually helped me out in the true crime field, but he is a professor at the University of Illinois, and he teaches classes on, serial murder and stuff, and he uses our card game in the classes for the students. So, literally, Killers the card game is in colleges and in the government. Fucking crazy.
Also, didn't you say over in Homeland Security they teach your employees based off that game too, right?
Yeah. So they do all kinds of stuff there, and they review a lot of the original case files and stuff so that they can understand the psychology of these different people that they may be trying to profile and things. So it's really fascinating how those things can be used. And that was always the intent, right? It was always about education. It was always about awareness and giving people a part of that, never about glorifying or anything like that. I do the whole shtick sometimes, and it's a lot of fun at conventions like this. But it is that, it's something that is out there to really provide that awareness and really give people an understanding of how many of these people are out there and the depths of depravity that they will go to fulfill their needs.
Now, tell us about your book you're coming out with.
Yeah, so that I've been doing for the last couple years. Those of you that have seen me at conventions and stuff, know that I have not been dressed like this, right? I'm usually a little bit better dressed and not wearing the skin hat. And that is because, everybody's got to be a little bit more professional at times. And so I have been doing a lot of talks on serial killer psychology, I do another talk where we go into and watch some of the actual interviews with different serial killers and pick them apart from like a behavioral standpoint. And so we're looking at that. Well, in April, my book comes out at the end of April called Beyond the Headlines, True Crimes, Myths, and Legends. So it is really digging into the sociological impact and all of the myths and things that arise around these, infamous killers that are in our culture. And I talk a lot about it being very much our own American mythology that has risen. And it's fascinating. We talk about stuff like, how Ed Gein influenced like a whole genre of horror movies. And, actually I'm going to go see one today that was very influenced by Ed Gein and called Cheryl. And so I'm super excited to see that.
I'm seeing Cheryl too. I'm good friends with the filmmakers, so I'm looking forward to seeing Cheryl too. That's going to be good.
Oh yeah, I'm super excited. I got to talk to them earlier today and really kind of get the inside scoop on all their research for the movie. And so I'm super excited about that. It's really cool. I'm excited for the book to come out. It's actually 3 volumes because y'all that know me know that I can't shut up about anything. It happens. But the first volume is on serial killers. The second volume will be on criminals. And then the third volume will be on cults and religions. So, yeah, we're going to throw some shade at a lot of people. Maybe the Catholic Church will be getting a little bit of that. You're welcome.
Now, when I was talking to you, when we bumped into each other before the convention opened up, you saw Juliette Lewis walking down the hallway, and you gave her game. Isn't Juliette Lewis big in the serial killer? Yeah, so I happened to find out that Juliette Lewis, of course, she played in, why can't I think of the name of the movie? The one with Woody, Natural Born Killers, right? And so Natural Born Killers is actually based off of several different serial killers, but I can see him in my head. But anyway, there's Carol Ann Fugate, and I can't think of his name to save my life right now. But he always looks like James Dean in all of his pictures smoking a cigarette. I don't know why I always think of that. But anyway, those 2 killers were largely based on Natural Born Killers and a couple others. But so she's apparently always been into true crime, and it's been a huge passion for her. And so I happened to find that out. So I was like, dude, I got to give her a copy of Killers the Card Game. And because it is just like she would love it. So I was, this is really fucking weird. But yesterday, I was sitting at home, and I was just kind of sitting there fantasizing about, what if I see Juliette, like, in the hotel, like, walking around or something, and I don't have to stand in this 3-hour fucking line to wait, and, like, I'm not getting any autographs. Like, I'm not really interested in that. I just, like, want to give her a copy of the game because I think it would be super cool for her to have. So, like, I'm not waiting in that line. And so I'm standing there, and for sure I'm talking to somebody, and she goes to walk past, and I'm like, hey, Juliette, how you doing? I actually brought you something. And so I gave it to her right then, and she seemed super excited, a little weirded out that the guy with the skin hat was giving her a game, which tends to happen sometimes. I saw that when you gave it to her. She gave you that, like, positive look going, ooh, really?
I think after she understood that I wasn't like giving her, well, I mean, I guess I gave her something crazy, but not something too crazy, like, didn't give her a dick in a box or anything like that. It was literally just a game in its original wrapping, right? So we try to be as family friendly as possible, even though I got like flesh on my head.
Tell about the other game you brought.
So right now,
The Profiler.
Yeah, The Profiler is my newest game. It is currently on Kickstarter, and Kickstarter is not being friendly to me right now, but, it happens. It is, Kickstarter is a marketing machine, and I am an independent publisher, very much like indie horror. It is hard to get crowdfunded, right? We all try to get on there and try to do the best we can and promote it and everything. And we watch all of these bigger companies get in there and make millions of dollars on their stuff because they have the marketing dollars behind them. And us indie publishers don't have that, right? We're struggling just to get the people and the artwork and, all the filming done and everything. And so it always ends up being a real challenge for us as indie developers. And so, my Kickstarter is going slow, but go in there and check it out. It's The Profiler. It is a social deduction game where you are playing as the townsfolk, trying to figure out who the killer is in your midst. And those killers come from the original FBI profiles. So like Comfort Killer, Power and Control Killer, Thrill Killer, Visionary Killers. And so you're trying to figure out who the killer is amongst you and what kind of killer they are. You got 60 minutes to figure it out or you lose.
Now, where can everybody find you on social media so they can get your game and your book that's coming out?
Yeah, so you can go to my website. It's scorpionlairgames.com. Or you can find me on Facebook. It's Jeff Ignatowski on Facebook. Or Killers TCG on most social media. Check me out on YouTube. I've got 5 Minute Murder on YouTube, Route 666, and Scorpion Lair Games is also on YouTube. I also am doing a super big push on TikTok right now. And I'm going to do a TikTok video with Robin right after this, which is going to be super cool. We're going to get on TikTok, do something dumb as shit. It'll be great. And so I got to post 3 times a day on TikTok right now because we're trying to get all of the viewers up so I don't have to fuck with Kickstarter anymore, and I get paid for having content on TikTok, and I can support all my games that way. So if you don't want to support me on Kickstarter, fine. Go to TikTok and support me with views so that we can make money from them, and China will be paying for all of my games. It'll be great, right? That's what we want to do.
Exactly. Thank you so much. There you have it.